There we go. We are unmuted. We are live. I'm going to try just seeing what happens here. I'm dropping a whole bunch of frames the moment I start sending it off to Kick, so I'm going to stop doing that. Yeah, it seemed to struggle the moment I started sending it to Kick. So we're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. My cat's whining. I was supposed to bring him in here. Stand by. I got to go get him. All right. Um, I'm not sure if I want to send this to Facebook. I'm gonna upload it there, but um, let's just see what happens. If we keep dropping a bunch of frames, I'm just gonna have to pre-record and go with that. I don't know what's going on with my connection tonight. It's just not wanting me to talk about everything that I'm going to talk about. So I'm just going to get into it, and I guess whatever happens. I'm going to try to keep my eyes on what's dropping and everything. Um but yeah. I need to see why it says that chat is disabled on YouTube. Or if it's just my dock here. No, not. Live chat is on. Okay, it must just be on my end. I'll have to figure out a refresh there in a second. But anyway, I'm gonna get into it. I have uh, a wonderful, wonderful story that I want to tell in a way that I think everybody's going to connect with. Okay, or at least people that are America first are going to connect with, and the people that are tired of feeling forgotten are going to connect with. And I think that, sorry, I'm watching those numbers still. I think that it's I think it's fair to say that not only are Americans going to connect with this in a pretty significant way, but I think that it'll give more insight into some of this unspoken history that exists between America and oh, excuse me, between America and our greatest ally in the Middle East. So let's get into some history, and we'll start there, and then we'll bring it to today. We all know that Americans don't like unresolved stories. We like clean endings, trials, villains, justice, credits roll, right? That's how Americans like it. That's why we have the system that we have that holds you accountable for the things that you do, right? And as humans, we should be holding those closest to us accountable for the things that they do, because in the end, it makes everybody better. But one thing in American history that doesn't give us that nice, clean, crisp ending is the USS Liberty. The USS Liberty doesn't give us that clean ending. It's one of those moments where the question isn't necessarily what happened. The real question is, why was it buried? So let's go back. June 8th, 1967. We're in international waters. We've got clear skies. The American flag in all of her beauty is there, visible, flying proudly. And then an American intelligence ship is attacked for hours, not minutes, hours. Planes, torpedo boats, napalm, machine gun fire aimed at lifeboats. Coward. And 34 Americans dead. And here's the part that I think that all of you need to sit down for. Your government knew immediately. Interception transcripts, survivor testimony, naval records, and then you would expect the government to answer in full force. That's what they say they would do. Nah, not this time. No, they didn't feel like it. There were no hearings worthy of the name. There were no consequences, no commission reports, no real public confrontation. The story was very nicely wrapped, shelved, and classified into obscurity. And that silence taught us, maybe not even us, but it taught a lesson more powerful than any apology ever could. It taught Washington that some relationships don't require accountability. They require compliance. And it was in that moment that lesson was taught to Washington, that foreign influence on the United States government was no longer theoretical. Crazy thing about influence is it doesn't announce itself with a flag. It shows up in a much more modern way. A calendar invite. It learns the system better than the people that it's influencing. It hires former staffers They fund think tanks, and it studies voting records like uh, like a stock portfolio. By the time Americans were arguing culture wars, the real war was already over. Because here's the ugly truth about American politics: nobody is more organized than a motivated donor class. And pro Israel advocacy groups, they didn't invent lobbying, but they sure as hell perfected it. They learned that you don't really need to own a politician, you just need to make opposing you professionally fatal. That's it. Most Americans think bribery looks like a suitcase, meeting in a hotel room, cracking open the briefcase. Here's your $100,000 and unmarked, untraceable bills, Mr. Senator, as long as you pass this law. And real influence looks like spreadsheets. Okay. That's what real influence looks like. My numbers are just tanking on these frames too. I'm going to have to figure out what's wrong with that and just, I don't know, pre-record, I guess. Glad I didn't try to go everywhere with it. Yep, this will be a pre-record. I got to figure out what's going on with my connection.